What's up, everybody? Blessed be. My name is Maiden, and you are watching Witch in the Working, where we will be discussing all things witchy in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond. Please visit me on my other platforms as well, including Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon, all linked down in the description below. Full script to this video and most of the others is available on my Patreon account for download if desired to build your Witch in the Working book shadows. So, what sparked me to do this video about paganism and rock music influences? As many of you know, I myself am a musician who performed with my band Witch's Mark for almost 2 decades. Everything we created musically was about paganism, witchcraft, and the occult in general. There was a time we even performed cover songs, which are songs written by other famous artists, but even these songs were all carefully chosen because of their occult overtones. I was reminiscing on the great times in music I created with Witch's Mark, and it gave me the idea of doing this video. I mean, I'll never forget the time we spent 3 days trying to recreate Frank Sinatra's version of the song Witchcraft into a more modern day rock version. Let's just say we finally gave up and moved on, unfortunately. It got me to thinking about how this genre of music and genre of religion and or spirituality, if you will, tied so well together. So I decided to create a fun little video outside the norm of most of my videos and, talk about it. I thought, what a cool way for all of us to share our knowledge and findings over the years of possible bands and or musicians that you may know of who are pagan, and share your findings and observances in the comments below. Reality is, we may all walk away with some great musical treats we never knew existed. Music in its varied forms and manifestations has served as a cornerstone of human culture throughout history. It often reflects our deepest desires, fears, and beliefs. Rock and roll, specifically a genre born of rebellion and the questioning of establishing norms, is no exception. Today, we begin our journey into the realm of the unorthodox, into the convergence of paganism, witchcraft, and rock and roll. In this exploration, we'll dive deep into the history of rock and roll and how the ancient threads of paganism and the practices of the occult have woven themselves into the fabric of this musical genre. We'll explore the bands and artists who have openly embraced these faiths and examine the pagan and witchy themes hidden within the lyrics and imagery of many popular rock and roll songs. This intersection of faith and music speaks volumes about our human need for spiritual expression and the desire to connect with something greater than ourselves. The dance of paganism and rock and roll in its many forms reminds us that music is more than just sound. It's a complex narrative of our human experience. So let's get rockin' and dive into this fascinating saga of rhythm, rebellion, and reverence. Roll intro. Welcome back, everybody. Paganism, a term used to describe a variety of pre-Christian, nature-oriented spiritual tradition, is often seen as an antithesis to structured monotheistic religions. It centers around the reverence of natural elements, the worship of ancient gods and goddesses, and the celebration of the inherent divinity found within every individual and the natural world. These faiths, with their pantheistic worldview and a profound respect for nature, are intrinsically linked with creativity and artistic expression, offering fertile ground for the artistic rebelliousness of rock and roll. As a genre, rock music emerged in the mid-20th century, embodying the spirit of defiance against the status quo. Its pulsating rhythms, evocative lyrics, and the raw energy it exuded became the voice of a generation seeking to challenge societal norms and express individuality. So how did paganism and witchcraft become intertwined with this genre? To understand this connection, it's important to remember that music at its core is a spiritual experience. It connects us to our deepest emotions, transcends everyday experiences, and often serves as a pathway to explore the mystical aspects of existence. It's no wonder that rock music, with its emphasis on personal expression and counterculture, became a fertile ground for the exploration of alternative spiritualities. The countercultural revolution of the 1960s, which saw an upsurge of interest in Eastern religions, mysticism, occultism, and other alternative spiritual practices, provided the backdrop against which pagan and witchcraft influences began to permeate rock and roll. Many artists of the time, searching for deeper meanings and alternative ways of experiencing the world, found resonance with the principles of paganism and witchcraft. Rock and roll, a genre that emerged as a beacon of rebellion and individualism, has always held a deep and intricate relationship with spirituality. The genre, born in the melting pot of post-World War II America, was a blend of African-American genres like blues, jazz, and gospel, and with a pinch of country music even added in there. This eclectic mix of styles and cultures nurtured a space for unconventional spirituality, such as paganism and witchcraft, to thrive and influence this dynamic genre. In the mid-20th century, society was marked by conformity, conservatism, and structured monotheistic religion. Rock and roll, with its raw energy, wild rhythms, and provocative lyrics, disrupted this status quo, becoming an anthem for counterculture. The genre not only challenged societal norms, but also traditional religious beliefs, opening up a pathway for alternative spiritual expressions. As the countercultural revolutions of the 1960s unfolded, a shift towards Eastern religions, mysticism, occultism, and a heightened interest in paganism and witchcraft was witnessed. This period was marked by an upsurge of neo-pagan movements that celebrated nature, revered ancient gods, and embraced rituals that distanced them from mainstream religions. The countercultural undercurrents of this period brought these alternative spiritual practices into the spotlight. Rock and roll artists of the time, intrigued by these alternative spiritual perspectives, began to imbibe and reflect them in their music. The raw, emotive power of rock and roll music provided a canvas for these musicians to paint with the vibrant hues of pagan and witchcraft/Wiccan spirituality. They found in paganism and the occult a resonance with their own rebellious spirits, an echo of their thirst of change, and an alignment with their desire to challenge the norms. The introduction of pagan and occult themes and symbolism within the rock music scene gave birth to a new language of spiritual expression. The genre became a vehicle to express and explore the mystical facets of existence that traditional forms of spirituality overlooked and ignored. Lyrics and visuals started to reflect pagan reverence for nature, the duality of goddess and god, elements of witchcraft, and the intricate weave of life, death, and rebirth, all central themes in paganism and witchcraft. The spiritual essence of rock and roll was shaped by these alternative spiritualities, adding depth to the genre's socio-cultural impact. The adoption of occult elements was more than just an aesthetic choice. It was a reflection of the era's changing spiritual landscape and the genre's inherent drive to challenge societal norms and push boundaries. In tracing the historical journey of rock and roll, it's essential to recognize the influence of the occult. These spiritual paths, with their emphasis on individuality, reverence for nature, and a less structured form of spirituality, mirror the core tenets of the genre itself. The fusion of these alternative spiritual practices with the bold rhythms of rock and roll created a unique cultural phenomena that continues to resonate with listeners today. In the following exploration, we will delve into the lives and works of specific bands and musicians who openly embrace these pagan worlds. We will dissect their music, looking for the spiritual undertones that so deeply influence their artistry. Through this journey, we can have a little fun and maybe discover a few things new and influential. As we explore the deep-rooted connection between paganism, witchcraft, and rock and roll, it's important to recognize those artists who braided their spiritual beliefs with their music, creating a unique soundscape that challenged societal norms. Their personal spiritual explorations found expression in lyrics, symbolism, and aesthetics of their music, leaving a profound impact on the genre as a whole. Starting at the pinnacle of rock music, we find Led Zeppelin, a band synonymous with the genre itself. Jimmy Page, the band's lead guitarist, was famously fascinated with Aleister Crowley, an English occultist and ceremonial magician known for his provocative exploration of mysticism and paganism. If you want to know more about Aleister Crowley, I'll link a video right here and also down in the description below. Page's interest in the occult seeped into the band's music and imagery, lending an air of mystery and spiritual depth that captivated fans worldwide. Fleetwood Mac's Stevie Nicks music was often imbued with themes of witchcraft and mystical feminine power. Nicks, who has spoken publicly about her interest in witchcraft, crafted songs like Rhiannon, an invocation of an ancient Welsh goddess. The mystical aura surrounding her stage presence and lyrical narratives has solidified her as a notable figure in the intersection of rock and roll and witchcraft. Witchcraft. Donovan, an artist who dabbled in a range of styles from folk to rock, Donovan often incorporated themes of spirituality and mysticism in his music. His song, Season of the Witch, became an anthem for the exploration of alternative spiritual practices that shifting societal norms of the 60s. There's also a movie out there called Season of the Witch that I totally recommend. If you can get hold of it, check it out. It's pretty cool. Emerging in the late 60s, Black Sabbath became one of the pioneers of heavy metal. Their music was rich in occult and pagan symbolism. Songs like NIB and Black Sabbath are laced with images of darkness and magic. Their pioneering sound laid a foundation for later bands to explore darker, more esoteric themes in their music. Moving towards the heavier side of rock and roll, we find Enslaved. This Norwegian black metal band's music is heavily influenced by Norse paganism, with lyrics that touch on ancient gods, legends, and spiritual concepts. Their music showcases how paganism continues to shape the rock and roll genre, even within its most intense subgenres. Ian Anderson, the band's frontman, penned lyrics that often displayed a deep reverence for nature, a common theme in paganism. Songs like Songs from the Woods are infused with nature-centric spirituality, reflecting the beauty and sacredness of the natural world. Mr. Crowley, released in 1980 on Ozzy Osbourne's debut album Blizzard of Oz, is one of Osbourne's most iconic songs and demonstrates his interest in occult themes. The song is a homage to Aleister Crowley, a controversial figure known for his practices in ceremonial magic and founding of the Thelemic religion. Aleister Crowley was often associated with darker aspects of the occult, making him a figure of intrigue in rock and heavy metal circles. While Ozzy Osbourne doesn't align himself with any specific religious belief, including Crowley's Thelema, the song Mr. Crowley reflects his interest in exploring spiritual and mystical themes in his music. The lyrics delve into Crowley's life and philosophy, questioning his moral alignment and practices. Osbourne uses this narrative as a vehicle to create a captivating and haunting musical atmosphere, reinforcing his iconic status in the realm of heavy metal. Incubus Succubus is an English band that has been producing pagan-themed music since their formation in 1989. Comprised of Candia Ridley, Tony McCormick, and Bob Gardner, the band has a unique sound that combines elements of goth rock, folk, and electronic, overlaying them with the lyrics that delve into pagan witchcraft and vampiric mythology. Songs like Witches, Vampire Erotica, and Belladonna and Aconite demonstrate their interest in pagan and occult themes. The band is also known for their high-energy performances and have developed a dedicated fan base, particularly within the pagan community. Despite their dark mystical image, the band's approach to paganism is one of positivity and respect, seeing it as a peaceful, nature-loving spirituality. Incubus Succubus remains an iconic part of the pagan music scene, consistently producing music that both entertains and expresses their spiritual beliefs. Godsmack is yet another band that has major pagan influence within some of their songs. For example, their name Godsmack has spiritual connotations, and several of their songs contain themes of karma, destiny, and the balance of light and dark, ideas that could align with some pagan philosophies. Furthermore, Godsmack's album covers often feature symbolically charged imagery. The sun and moon, prominently displayed on the cover of their self-titled debut album, are common symbols in various pagan traditions. Similarly, the cover of their album Faceless features a figure shrouded in mystery, which could be interpreted as a nod to esoteric or occult ideas. And of course, it's been mentioned that Sully himself, the lead singer of Godsmack, is actually a signed and sealed practitioner under one famous Laurie Cabot of Salem. Through their exploration of pagan and witchy themes, each of these bands and musicians have added to the intricate mosaic of spiritual expression within the rock and roll genre. Their work stands testament to the profound influence of the occult on rock and roll, showcasing how these spiritual paths have shaped the genre's ethos and aesthetics. Music is a language that transcends words, a medium that carries a world of meaning in every note. Rock music in particular has served as a canvas for a multitude of spiritual expressions, including the ancient pathways of paganism. From the subtle reverence for nature to blatant references to magic and witchcraft, pagan and witchcraft themes have found a home within the lyric and imagery of many a rock song. Paganism and witchcraft hold deep respect for nature and the elements, seeing the divine reflected in the earth, air, fire, and water. This reverence is often mirrored in rock lyrics and album artwork. The Doors' Summer's Almost Gone mourns the passing of the sun-soaked season in a touching ode to the cyclical nature of time, a concept central to many pagan beliefs. Led Zeppelin's The Rain song paints a vivid picture of the changing seasons and the gentle, nurturing power of the element of water. These songs and many others resonate with paganism's focus on the natural world and the cycles of life. Magic and witchcraft, prominent in Wicca and many forms of paganism, have also found their way into rock and roll. Black Sabbath's The Wizard weaves a tale of a magical figure whose power brings comfort and safety, a nod to the benevolent power of witchcraft. Donovan's Season of the Witch captures the sense of otherness and mystique often associated with witches, serving as a metaphor for societal outcasts in the counterculture of the 1960s. The Eagles' Witchy Woman. This song evokes an enchanting, mysterious woman with witch-like powers, suggesting the allure and danger of the unknown. The Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil. This classic song doesn't deal directly with witchcraft, but its exploration of the character of the devil plays into themes of the occult and supernatural. The Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. While not directly about magic or witchcraft, this song explores themes of death and the afterlife, both common themes in witchcraft and the occult. David Bowie, Station to Station. Bowie's fascination with the occult and mysticism comes through in this song, which references the Kabbalah, a form of Jewish mysticism. The band Black Widow and their song Come to the Sabbath. This song invites listeners to a witches' sabbat, a gathering associated with witchcraft and pagan practices. The band Ghost and their song Elizabeth. This song tells the story of Elizabeth Bathory, a historical figure often associated with witchcraft and the occult due to her rumored practices. The band Coven and their song Wicked Woman. Coven, known for their occult themes, sings of a powerful, dangerous woman who embodies many qualities associated with the witch archetype. Stevie Nicks with her song Rhiannon. While not specifically about witchcraft, this song is about a woman who's free, powerful, and enchanting, much like the witch archetype. Most likely, this song is about the goddess Rhiannon. These songs represent a range of approaches to these themes, some treating them seriously, others using them for their atmospheric or narrative value, but each in its own way contributes to the rich tradition of magic and witchcraft in rock music. Pagan deities and mythologies also feature heavily in rock and roll. Norse mythology, with its pantheon of powerful gods and goddesses, has particularly influenced many rock artists. Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song includes references to Valhalla and the hammer-wielding Thor, transporting listeners to the rugged landscapes of the Norse sagas. Jethro Tull with his song Songs from the Wood. This song and much of the album it comes from draws heavily from rural English folklore and the veneration of nature, aligning it with pagan themes. Bathory with their song Song to Haul Up High. Bathory was a pioneering band in the Viking metal subgenre. This song is a sort of hymn or prayer to Norse gods, demonstrating the band's use of Norse mythology. The Doors and their song The End, although not explicitly about any particular mythology, this song's themes of death and rebirth and its ritualistic structure bear some resemblance to pagan beliefs and practices. Manowar with their song Gods of War. This band is known for their songs about mythology and epic battles, and this song stands as a tribute to the gods of war, like the Norse god Odin or the Greek god Ares. Fleetwood Mac, Gold Dust Woman. Stevie Nicks' lyrics often incorporate mystical, mythological, and spiritual themes. This song, while not explicitly about a pagan deity, evokes themes of enchantment and transformation. The band The Sword with their song Maiden, Mother, and Crone. The title of this song refers to the triple goddess, a figure in various pagan traditions that represents the different phases of the female life cycle and, as we all know, the phases of the moon. Iron Maiden's The Flight of Icarus. This song references the Greek myth of Icarus and Daedalus, a tale full of warnings about hubris and disobedience to the gods. Another Iron Maiden classic, Revelations, this song contains many references to the occult and mysticism. Some fans and critics speculate that it refers to Aleister Crowley, once again another song about Aleister Crowley, a figure often associated with paganism and the occult. There's literally tons of bands and song titles that can be included in this exploration, but I obviously can't go over each and every one. So if you have some more ideas, then by all means throw them down in the comments below and help us all build this database of witchy rockers. Pagan and witchcraft symbols often adorn album covers, stage sets, and band merchandise. Pentagrams, a symbol associated with witchcraft and often misunderstood, have frequently been used to represent the mystery and allure of the genre. Ancient pagan symbols like the Celtic Triskelion and the Norse runes are also commonly used, adding layers of mystique and meaning to the band's visual presentation. This imagery often aligns with the themes explored in their music, offering a visual representation of the band's thematic concerns. Led Zeppelin, with their album Led Zeppelin 4, this album cover is infamous for its lack of text and mysterious symbols, each representing a band member. Jimmy Page's symbol, Zoso, has been associated with a sigil representing Saturn as found in a 16th century grimoire. The band Black Sabbath, with their album Black Sabbath, this debut album cover from Black Sabbath features a spectral figure standing in front of an eerie building, setting the tone for their occult-themed music. Iron Maiden, on their album Power Slave. Iron Maiden's album covers, created by artist Derek Riggs, often include intricate, highly symbolic imagery. The cover of Power Slave features their mascot Eddie as a massive Egyptian pharaoh surrounded by Egyptian hieroglyphs and mythological symbols. The band Ghost, in their album Opus Eponymous, Ghost is known for their occult imagery, and their debut album cover is no exception. It features a detailed, symbol-rich scene with a figure that appears to be the anti-pope, aligning with the band's satanic themes. Tool, with their album Lateralis. Tool is known for their profound and mysterious aesthetics. Their Lateralis cover art, created by artist Alex Gray, features intricate spiritual and cosmic symbolism. Fleetwood Mac, with their album Rumors. The album cover shows Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks in a strange witch-like pose, with Fleetwood's dangling balls, a nod to a traditional folklore character, and Nick's ethereal attire, which could be interpreted as a nod to the occult or pagan aesthetics. Motley Crue uses an inverted pentagram on some of their albums, as well as in stage design and even in some of their music videos. In the world of rock and roll, these pagan and witchy themes offer a richness and depth that draws listeners into a deeper exploration of life's mysteries. They underscore the spiritual journey that music often invites us to embark on, the quest for understanding and connection that underlies the human experience. As we've explored, the influences of paganism and witchcraft in rock and roll span far beyond individual bands or musicians. They permeate the very fabric of the genre, coloring the lyrics and imagery with a palette drawn from ancient wisdom and spiritual paths. From its rebellious beginnings, rock and roll has always challenged the status quo, offering an outlet for alternative views on society, politics, and spirituality. In this ever-evolving genre, the influences of paganism and witchcraft have left indelible imprints coloring the music, lyrics, imagery, and overall culture of rock and roll. Let's delve into how this has reshaped the genre and its broader cultural significance. Rock and roll, with its bold spirit, has always pushed against societal norms, including those around spirituality. The infusion of pagan and witchy themes into rock and roll has provided an avenue for the expression of spirituality outside of traditional boundaries. This merging of spiritual paths in music allowed many to explore and express their spiritual feelings in a more free-form and personal manner, opening the door for broader acceptance of non-traditional faiths in society at large. Paganism and witchcraft often embrace what's considered other in mainstream society, witches, gods, and goddesses of ancient pantheons and magical practices, for instance. As these themes found a voice in rock and roll, they offered a form of empowerment to those who identified as other. This has had a profound influence on the genre's culture, giving fans and musicians alike a means to celebrate their unique identities and challenge societal norms. The interweaving of occult influences into rock and roll music has directly contributed to the rise of specific subgenres. Bands like Black Sabbath paved the way for occult rock and doom metal genres, heavily influenced by themes of witchcraft and the supernatural. The Norse-inspired black metal subgenre has its roots in pagan reverence for ancient deities and legends. These subgenres, while not mainstream, have garnered dedicated followings, further diversifying the landscape of rock and roll. Pagan and witchcraft traditions place a significant emphasis on nature and the environment. As these themes entered the rock and roll scene, they brought with them a heightened awareness and appreciation for the natural world. Songs celebrating the beauty of the earth, the changing seasons, and the power of natural elements have inspired fans to connect more deeply with nature and environmental causes. The presence of pagan and witchcraft themes in rock and roll has also sparked curiosity and dialogue about these spiritual paths, prompting greater understanding and acceptance. By challenging stereotypical portrayals and highlighting the core beliefs of paganism and witchcraft, respect for nature, the power of individuality, and the freedom of spiritual expression, rock and roll has played a role in demystifying these paths. The cultural impact of the occult on rock and roll is significant. By providing a platform for these spiritual paths, the genre has not only influenced its own culture, but has also impacted broader societal perspectives on alternative spiritualities. Rock and roll in its raw and expressive nature continues to mirror our evolving spiritual landscape, challenging norms and inspiring exploration, making it more than just music. It's a spiritual journey set to a powerful beat. Exploring the realm of rock and roll and tracing the strands of paganism and witchcraft intertwined within its rich fabric has been an enlightening journey. From the historical foundations, the notable musicians and bands, the themes embedded in lyrics and imagery, to the broader cultural impact, we've seen how these ancient spiritual paths have permeated and influenced this dynamic genre. Rock and roll, in its essence, is a genre born of rebellion and desire for individual expression, a canvas where norms can be challenged and boundaries pushed. Similarly, paganism and witchcraft, with their emphasis on individual spiritual paths, reverence for nature, and connection to ancient wisdom, offer an alternative to structured mainstream religions. This common ground of defiance and desire for personal expression created a potent symbiosis between rock and roll and these spiritual paths, resulting in a rich and vibrant spiritual dimension to the genre. The exploration of pagan and witchcraft themes has offered many musicians an expansive space to weave together spiritual and musical expression. It's given them a language from which to explore their spirituality and as a means to share that exploration with their audience. Songs inspired by these themes continue to invite listeners to engage with the mysteries of life, the sacredness of nature, and the power of individuality. Moreover, the presence of pagan and witchy influences has left a lasting cultural impact. By showcasing alternative spiritualities, rock music has sparked dialogue, expanded understanding, and challenged preconceptions. It has also provided a platform for those who identify as other to be seen and heard. In creating this space, rock and roll has not only offered a stage for the performance of music, but has also given a voice to the performance of identity, spiritual exploration, and societal reflection. The genre has shown us that music can do more than entertain. It can challenge, inspire, and transform. The incorporation of occult influences into rock and roll has left an indelible mark on the genre, contributing to its depth and diversity. As we move forward, it will be intriguing to see how this relationship evolves and continues to shape the musical and spiritual landscape of rock and roll. As every new chord is struck and every lyric penned, the echoes of this ancient wisdom will continue to resonate, inviting us all on a journey of spiritual and musical exploration. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Witching and Working. What other mainstream bands and or artists can you name that have pagan influences? What songs did they create that are pagan influenced? Let us all know down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to ring that little bell to be reminded of the wonderful and exciting future episodes to come. I love you guys and gals. Blessed be.